Hi, it's First Lady here, and today I want to make a warm pot of beans. So I'm going to be making Great Northern beans, and I already have a video up on Great Northern beans, but I think it's probably from about 4 years ago. So I'm cooking it again and just showing you the way that I prepare my Great Northern beans, and I'm going to have some okra and tomatoes with it and cornbread. So I just want to go over to the sink and I want to show you the meat that I'm going to use. I'm going to actually be using a smoked turkey leg. So I just want to show you this smoked turkey leg. I'm sorry, this is a smoked turkey wing. I always have smoked turkey legs on my mind. All right, so I'm just gonna go over to the pot here and I'm just gonna turn it on, and this will cook with the beans. So I'm just gonna put the pot on high. And so I'm going to go ahead also now and add my Great Northern beans to this colander. And this is probably about a pound, a little over a pound of Great Northern beans. I'm going to just rinse them really well, and they're just going to go right in the pot. So let me go over to the sink again and just show you that I'm just going to rinse these in cold water just to make sure that they're clean and that there's really not any pieces of dirt left in there. So you just kind of move them around. But I love Great Northern beans just because they have a rich texture to them, and I really like that. It's a smooth, almost like a creamy texture. The broth is like a creamy broth that you have with Great Northern beans. So Great Northern beans are really good if you like beans that have like a really smooth and sort of bland texture, if you will, but not really like pinto beans. I'm just gonna pour these beans right into the pot. All right, and of course my pot is on high. I do not soak my beans, as I mentioned probably in the first video. And the reason why is because I just don't think that it's necessary. I like to just go ahead and put the beans in with the meat that I'm cooking and just let it slow cook for, a couple of hours. So I'm just gonna put the lid on, and these are gonna cook for a couple of hours. You can sort of move the pot around, just to make sure the beans are spread around evenly in the pot, but they're gonna cook with that smoked turkey wing. And I'm gonna add some onion as I get closer to the end of the process, just because I like the flavor of the onion, not when it's cooked completely down, but actually, as the process is almost finished and you can actually taste the onion and it has some texture in there. All right, so I'm just gonna cover this. You can use a slow cooker for this as well, but I like the way that it bubbles up on top of the stove. So that's the reason why I'm using my red trusty Dutch oven pot here. I like the way that the beans bubble up and they smell, and they really make the whole house smell good. Plus, because I'm cooking the turkey wing with it, I really want the turkey wing to be really soft and tender. All right, so both of these will cook together. All right, so thank you guys for hanging out in the kitchen with me, and I will show you what this looks like when I get ready to add the whole yellow onion to it. And then we'll be ready to eat later on, okay? So I'm making a great pot of Great Northern beans, and I'm gonna do some cornbread, and I'm gonna do some okra and tomatoes, all right? We're having a nice dinner. It's a cold day outside, and I want something warm. So, all right, I'll be back. Okay, as the Great Northern beans are cooking, I just want to show you how they look. You can see how they rise up to the top. And as they cook, you can see the water becoming thicker. And of course, the turkey wing is cooking. So this is a process that takes more than a couple of hours because you want your beans to be tender and your meat to be tender. All right, so I'm just showing you the process, and you can see that some of the fat from the turkey wing is rendering, and that will make this a really flavorful pot of Great Northern beans. Okay, all right, so they are moving right along and they are cooking nicely. And then as they get closer to being done, I turn the fire down. All right, so these will just cook and keep cooking until I am ready to add the onion. I'll be back. All right, family, now that these Great Northern beans have cooked, it's time to add the onions. So I want to add the onions into this pot here, and you will see that it will really add a great flavor to it. So this is about 3/4 of a whole onion. All right, so let me just stir it around and let you see just how nice this broth is. And remember, I told you it has a nice, sort of almost translucent color to it. This turkey wing is kind of getting ready to fall off the bone here. And I'm just going to let this continue to slow cook. And just to let you know, for a little bit more flavor, I added some reduced sodium chicken broth. And so that's going to enhance the flavor of this pot of beans. All right, so they are cooking and they look amazing and they smell even better. All right, so I'm just going to continue to let them slow cook. And I'll show you what that looks like when everything is pretty much done. Now, the other thing that I want to show you in this pot, I wanted to show you the tomatoes. I'm going to use just a can of diced tomatoes. All right. So I'm going to have tomatoes and okra. And I don't know about you, but I love okra and tomatoes. So I'm just going to drop this can. And this is just the diced tomatoes. You can even choose to use the diced tomatoes with the ones that have garlic and oregano and all of that in there. But I'm just choosing a plain can of the diced tomatoes. I'm going to use some of this chicken broth to go in here. And I'm just going to warm these tomatoes up. I'm going to use a little bit of avocado oil. So I'll show you that. I'm going to use a little avocado oil in here and some onion. Okay. And so this is going to make the tomatoes just a little bit more rich, add more flavor to it. All right, so let me get these onions in here. And this is the other half of the onion. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that in there with these tomatoes, all right? And just move that around a little bit. Okay, so this is okra and tomatoes with onions. I'm just going to let it connect and all the flavors kind of come together. I'm going to add this reduced sodium chicken broth in here. Just a little of that. Just to have some liquid in there so that when it comes up to a boil, I can add the okra, okay? All right, and that flavor will be so amazing on that. Let me taste it. Oh. All right, that's delicious. All right, so it's just gonna come up a little bit, cook a little bit, let all the flavors marinate, and then we'll add the okra. All right, so the beans are almost ready. Let me cover them and let them continue. The tomatoes and onions are getting ready for our okra to be added, all right? And we'll be ready to eat. I just want to show you I put some cornbread in the oven. And it is almost ready as well. Just some buttermilk cornbread. All right. Ooh, I'm getting excited. It's almost time to eat. All right, I will be back. All right, so I am pulling my cornbread out of the oven. It has been cooking long enough. It is nice and browned. Oh, you can see how that oil that's in there is bubbling. It's still light and fluffy because I made buttermilk cornbread. Oh, gosh. It's just cornmeal mix, you know, with, I guess it was about 2 cups of buttermilk and 2 eggs and a little bit of sugar. And I mixed it all together and it makes a light and fluffy cornbread, okay? All right, we're almost ready to eat because once we get ready to put the okra in with these beautiful tomatoes and onions, we're gonna be ready to have a great meal. All right, I'll be back. All right, we are back and it is time to add the okra to our tomatoes and onions. I just wanted to show you I used some coarse black pepper and some Creole seasoning in the okra and tomato mixture. So I'm just gonna, you can see the seasonings there. It's come up to a boil. I'm just using whole baby okra. So the whole baby okra is just a smaller variety. And so because it's a smaller variety, you don't have to like worry about them being so big. And I'm just rinsing them a little bit. They are frozen. All right, so they are frozen. So I'm just rinsing them just a little bit, just in case they have any residue on them. Now remember, okra has the consistency that will make any of your sauces and your gumbos and things very thick. So I'm using the whole baby okra. And honestly, it's just gonna go right in. And the way this is that this is going to cook just for a couple of minutes, right? It doesn't take okra very long. Okra and tomatoes with the onions and the seasonings, all right? So you're looking at probably 3 minutes tops, all right? Once you bring that mixture up to a boil, you know, you are just basically adding in the okra and really just letting it steam because the water was already hot and boiling, all right? So this is it, all right? A couple of minutes on a steam. I'm just gonna turn this off and let it steam. All right, so you can see that our cornbread is ready. Our buttermilk cornbread is ready. And I'm ready to eat it because it is hot still and delicious. And of course, our beans, our great northern beans with the smoked turkey wing. And I just put in some onions. I put in a little bit of garlic powder. And of course, I put in some reduced sodium chicken broth. So you can see just how, see how that is? That is a beautiful color on that. The beans are soft and tender, okay? And you can see that this smoked turkey wing is soft and tender as well, okay? All right, so when I come back in a few minutes, it'll be time to plate everything and we'll give everything a taste on our dinner that we're having. Great northern beans, okra and tomatoes, and cornbread, all right? And I didn't do a meat because there's plenty of meat in this smoked turkey wing that's inside the beans, all right? All right, you guys, almost time to eat. I'll be back to taste. All right, family, it is time to eat. So let me lift the tops of these pots here so we can get ready to have our great northern beans. And we have okra and tomatoes. And of course, we have buttermilk cornbread. So I'm going to go ahead and slice up this cornbread real quick. Get me a big slice of this cornbread. And then after that, try to lift this up without tearing it. All right, I got my cornbread here, my buttermilk cornbread. And I'll just put that right here in the bowl. And I'm going to have my great northern beans. So I'm just going to serve me up some. And you can see that this smoked turkey wing is soft and tender. So let me get some beans. And I'm going to take a little bit of this smoked turkey wing meat and put some of it in my bowl as well. All right, so that's that. You can see how tender and juicy that is. Okay. And all this is going on my little tray. I don't know about you, but I love beans and cornbread. All right, and so the next and final thing that we're going to do is we're going to enjoy some of this okra and tomatoes. Now, I just want to show you how these baby whole okra, how they look. All right, I'm just going to spoon out some into this bowl with the okra and tomatoes. And then I'll get some of this broth too, because it is good as well. All right, I hope you guys try this recipe. Okra and tomatoes. You really can't beat that with cornbread and beans. Oh my goodness. Now let me get some of this good broth in here. All right, so now, all right, I'm gonna taste it for you all. I like to taste everything for you all so you all can see just how everything is when it's done. All right, so let me get a spoon here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to taste are the great northern beans with the cornbread, all right, and this smoked turkey wing. All right, here we go. Thank you, Lord. Bless it in Jesus' name. Amen. Lord have mercy. That is so good. That cornbread is amazing too. Let me put a little black pepper on it because I forgot that I really like to have black pepper on mine right when I get ready to finish everything off and eat it. All right. All right. I'm getting excited. Okay, one more bite. Okay, now let's move to the okra and tomatoes. All right. Now remember, I just did a can of tomatoes here, some onions chopped up with a little bit of avocado oil, and then I just put this whole baby okra in the little pot so that it all can sort of gel together with those flavors. I put a little bit of Creole seasoning and black pepper in there. Oh my goodness. Let's taste and let's see how it is. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Ooh, that is good. Mm, mm, mm. And really and truly, you guys, that Creole seasoning really made this pop. All right. It is excellent. All right. It's delicious. I mean, just give me a bowl of this. And what I love about it is it really is vegan because you have the avocado oil, onions, the can of tomatoes, and the okra. There's no meat in this at all. And even if you want to do the beans, you know, you can make them vegan as well because you don't have to use the chicken broth and you don't have to put a smoked turkey leg in there, okay? You can just use the onion, the water, the beans, right? And just flavor them with, you know, other things like bell pepper and some garlic powder or something, you know, garlic powder and other seasonings like you want to use salt and pepper. But this is amazing, you guys. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to finish enjoying my dinner tonight. All right. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please click that notification bell, right? So you can be notified every time I upload new content. These videos are short and sweet, a lot of them. Hey, get right to the point. You're cooking with me in the kitchen, all right? So don't forget, share this with somebody who you think might enjoy this content, all right? I love you guys, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about these recipes. Until the next video, love you. Be blessed. Let me keep eating.